And Testa-Seat is really trying to focus on three different aspects. It's one, really make a custom and more fitted seating solution for children to provide them better support. But also we're trying to see how families actually using them, because like customizing them and make the child sit, it's one, but really how the families use them. And then also make it more affordable than any other products. And that's all really possible by 3D printing. So years ago, I started a company called Testa-Seat by working with the rehabilitation centers and hospitals and working specifically with families that have a child with cerebral palsy. And what this means that those children born with disability that they're not able to sit independently. And we're usually not thinking about sitting so much, but sitting is really a central of everything that usually children's doing, if it's from education, eating, meals, playing, etc. And that means that those children's really depends on the sitting because they're not able to sit independently. I think in some way it's really similar to the prosthetics field and the orthotics. So it's really crucial. We usually think about prosthetics as something that's really crucial for a person to be mobile, but sitting for those children, it's almost the same. So just to explain a little bit more about the sitting, let's dive for a minute for a daily routine of those families. So a child with a disability that need a sitting solution, they will start from morning routines. They need a sitting solution for bathing. They also need something to eat and maybe be more mobile in their houses. All of those equipments extremely expensive, but also you can see that they are far away from being any customized. So they're not really supporting well most of the children's. But then also in most of the cases, if you want to be more mobile, you will need a car seat that it's a separate product. And if you need any device in your school, you probably will need additional one because you can bring your own from your house because it's too bulky. If you are a traveling person and you want to travel with your family and your kid, you need more portable device, etc.
How's your morning?
Just
How's your morning going? About to have a mental breakdown. How about you? Nice, nice. I'm in the middle of a mental breakdown already.
So for those families, like sitting solutions are so crucial, but they are also so complicated and expensive. So in the pediatric space, you can imagine that this is pretty much abandoned space because no one wants to make custom seating solution, especially for pediatric space because they're growing. So at the end, most of the families, if they're not able to get all of those equipments, and also every 3-4 years they will need new equipment because they grow outgrowing them, you will find that most of those families, they have those DIY products that they're making them from pool noodles, cardboards, etc., etc. So even if they can get adaptive equipment, it will not fit them well because it's designed really in the way to fit most of the people without customizing them. The biggest problem with seating that the child in the early age, if they're not supported enough, they start to develop spinal deformation. They're not able to participate in the education or even in kind of playing with peers. They will also start to develop development delay and more and more and more that will cause them a lot of different treatments in the future. So it's really crucial. The problem with seating is almost the same like the prosthetics. To make a custom seat, it takes about like 3 to 6 months to make the custom seat, from scanning, manufacturing, fitting, refitting, testing, etc. So it's not really an option in the pediatric space, even though it's really important and crucial in the early stage. So this is why we started Testa-Seat. And Testa-Seat is really trying to focus on three different aspects. It's one, really make a custom and more fitted seating solution for children to provide them better support. But also we're trying to see how families actually using them, because like customizing them and make the child sit, it's one, but really how the families use them, and then also make it more affordable than any other products. And that's all really possible by 3D printing. So you can see that this product is the original product. And those therapists that we worked with them, they like the product. It's super comfortable. It's super supportive, but it was made like 30 years ago by some company that was customizing them by hand, and now no one wants to make them. And this was a starting point for us thinking, it's a great product. Therapists like them, families like them, but no one manufacturing them. Let's digitalize it. So we started to work with the therapist and the professionals in this field of sitting and positioning and see what kind of measurements and what kind of supports and what parameters we need to include in this model. And we slowly started to develop the product into the digital space and also configuring it in a way that we can take measurements and then also digitalize the product without any scan and after processing of the product, because for us it's also a thing that will allow us to scale, because scanning and then processing is one of those gaps, and then prototyping. So 3D printing really allow us to start as a small business from prototyping, providing some basic products, and then huge learning curve of what works, how works, in which way we need to print. But it and also validating, and this is, I think, at this moment it's less bothering the customer's therapist, but 10 years ago it was one of those issues that people even not trusted 3D printing. Now people use 3D printing products without even noticing, but it's a process that we also validated the 3D printing approach that we had using FDM or FGF, that we actually can create a pretty solid and rigid and durable material by this approach. Now, the end result of Testa-Seat, it's the more updated product. You can see it's also started without any attachments, headrest, footrest, etc. But it's really between a seat and a brace, and its goal is to provide a best support for a child. So we integrated all the side support, hip support, pommels, headrest integrated to the seat. So families usually that buying the equipment, they don't need to buy the equipment and then all the attachments. And the way that we figure it out, it's really creating a customization platform. And it's for two different reasons. One, we know that there is no one sitting solution for all kids, but also there is no one sitting approach for all the therapists that we're working with, because some of the therapists will tell, hey, we want the child more tilted, or we want more straps, etc. So we really quickly found that it's kind of a collaboration between us, the therapist, the family, and the kiddo, and we trying to figure out what measurements and what approach the child will get best. And based on the measurements and the therapist feedback, we really can enter the measurements without any scanning. And then based on those measurements, we can create a fully custom seating solution. Now, it's really complicated to explain how customized it can be, but really almost every single parameter of the seat, if it's depth, height, side support, hip support, tilt, recline, can be adjusted and customized. Also, recently we started kind of do more diving deep into the components of the seats. So the footrest, the seat angles, heights, different variations are also customizable. And we're working with therapists to kind of to define what is the next custom seat or what is the next attachments we need to work on. But you can see that the variety of the seats, it's huge. Even though that all those seats are in between the ages of 1 to 8, they're really different. And for some kiddos, they're not able even to sit without having this kind of custom seating solution. Now, we having two major benefits from using 3D printing and the approach. One, yeah, we can positioning them much better than any other product in the market. But also you can see the footprint. And this is something that we're discovering by really working with families. The small footprint that we can provide and the lightweight of the product, it's a key for all the families. So we discovered that yes, customizing is a basic because they need to fit, but then the low profile and the lightweight is the second priority for all the families because they need to take the equipment with them for traveling, schools, families, etc. And then the other approach is also how we can create the product that can be usable in different setups, like sitting on the floor, sitting on the chair as a booster. And it's also something that by 3D printing, we always redesigning and improving the product. And just for example, how families can use it, we'll just dive into our social media so you can see feeding and meals is so crucial for those families. And then by having the opportunity to take the equipment with them, they actually can go to the restaurants, events. They also can sit on the floor so they can start more interactions with peers and friends and getting more of the educational piece. It's also water resistant, so we chose a materials and the shape of the seat that it can be easily clean and water resistant, so families can use them in shallow water, but also as a showering chair for some of them. And the small footprint is something that always kind of exciting to see, and we keep discovering how families actually can use it. So bicycle trails, they use them also as an insert for strollers because most of the strollers are not supportive enough. It's so small that it can fit in different swings. They can use them on airlines. And we are so excited that sometimes those families discovering new opportunities that never been possible because of the size of other products. So like sleds and mobility, it's one of those things. But we also discovering that not only families benefit from them, we're also seeing a lot of therapists start using them as an equipment in their clinic because previously it's also too bulky for most of the therapies, and it's also not something that they can use as a in between brace and the seat. And really, the ideology that we have is that we want to start with the child as soon as possible, provide him the best fitting solution, and then grow with him if it's the size product that we have or the custom ones. We have both of them, but we have already children that growing with us for like 8 years and benefiting from the support, but also the portability. We kind of a weird hybrid company in this space because most of the companies you have size products or a custom fit, and the custom fit it's not really exist in the pediatric space, so we kind of combining both of them, and we also providing a rental program. So it's also something that because we manufacturing, we feel pretty well to kind of make the rental program as well to make it more affordable and available. And we still kind of navigating ourselves into the reimbursement system because it's not easy in this space, but we was able to deliver already about 700-800 of the seats to clinics, families in US, Canada, Australia that really seeing huge benefit and difference between other products. And again, it's all thanks for the 3D printing and the different properties that we can make, but also the learning curve, it's long. So we also adapting the product on the way. And really for us, we know that now we're focusing on the pediatric seats because there is a huge gap in the market. But we also understand that the same technology, we can use it not only for pediatric space, but also wheelchair space that starts to be really also looking for those custom solutions. And we already tried some of them, and it looks like a great opportunity for this market to grow into the more customizable solutions than off the shelf. We are self-sustainable right now. We are cash positive, but we are looking for investment to grow. So if there is someone in the crowd that is looking forward to invest or kind of join the efforts that we have, please share, please reach out. And yeah, if you have any questions, would love to share more.